guys, it's bathroom review time. Yes, I'm shooting in my bathroom. I love doing reviews and videos and stuff in my bathroom because normally the lighting is somewhat on point. But yeah, we are here for my Avengers Infinity War review. Now, I'm gonna jump right off the bat and say that this is not a non-spoiler review. If you haven't seen the movie, get out. Get out now. There's nothing you need to see here. Infinity War is a movie that does not deserve to be spoiled. It deserves to be experienced going in blind. So if you're interested in what I thought, even though I think it was a pretty, not my best straight up non-spoilery review video, but there's not really much you can say about Infinity War without spoiling it. So if you guys want to see a non-spoilery 3-minute version, go check out my reaction. I'll put a card up there, somewhere, right there. But if you haven't seen it, get out. Get out. Bye. Love you, but you can't stay here. Bye. All right. So, first of all, shout outs to Time and Screen Rant and all these other great places where I was able to pull up and do a very simple, quick outline for what I wanted to talk about in my review for this movie. As you can tell, if you saw my reaction video to Infinity War that I made Sunday, or after we saw it Saturday, you saw that I wasn't in the best mood. Of course not. I'm partly still not okay, but I'm recovered enough to talk about and to, as you can tell, I'm in a much better mood right now on this video than I was in the reaction video. Your girl was numb. But let's just jump in here. First scene that we see, and I figured they would do this. We open the theme for the Marvel comic book flip through that they normally do. It wasn't the flip through, but it was like the new intro. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I used the music from it in my last review thing. I'm gonna use it in this intro. But the music was not normal. It was a darker theme. I noticed that they had like the yellow color of Thanos' glove come out in like the little M credits area that they use. But anyways, back to the beginning of the movie. We open at the end of Thor, the last Thor movie that we saw, and right in the middle of the end credit scene when Thanos is on their ship, all the Asgardians that we kind of sort of care about because they're Asgardians and they matter to Thor are all just dead. Idris Elba's character Heimdall over there on the floor, just like grasping. You see Thor over there in the corner, like on the floor, just like. And Thanos is asking Loki where the Space Stone is. For those of you who aren't familiar with what the Space Stone was, and if you've seen this movie, you know what it is, but it's the Tesseract that we've been dealing with since the first Captain America movie and the first Avengers movie. He asks Loki where it is, and Loki's like, I have no idea what you're talking about, bro. I don't have it. And he's like, of course you don't. And they sit there quiet for a few minutes, and he grabs Thor and he's like, tell me where it is and I won't kill your brother. And at this point we notice he has the Power Stone, which means that he has destroyed Xandar, the first planet that we see in the first Guardians movie, somewhere within this timeline. And he takes the Power Stone, he puts it up to Thor's head, and at this point we're all like, oh crap, Thor's gonna die, this is it. And then Loki is like, okay, stop. And Thor's just like, we don't know where the Space Stone is, it was destroyed with Asgard. And Loki's like, no, I have it, because when you saw Thor Ragnarok, you know that Loki, with his bad, mischievous, sneaky self, although I love him, took the Tesseract with him before they left Asgard from the Vault, whatever they call it. And Loki gave it to Thanos. He stopped hurting Thor, and Thor called him an idiot, yada yada. And Loki was like, sir, give me a chance to join your ranks. And I was like, okay, he's gonna go with Thanos. He's going to figure out a way to help Thor and his friends out. He's gonna be a great asset, because Loki would be smarter than that. He would go for the long game, just like he did in Thor Ragnarok. He went for the long game. And I was just like, this is a great setup for this plot that we're having. And Thanos was like, are you serious? And Loki was like all kneeling to him and stuff. And he tried to stab Thanos. I was shook. Thanos tried to grab Loki, and they had their little exchange, and then Loki was like, we have the Hulk. The Hulk comes in, which I totally forgot the Hulk was there, if we're being real, if we're being honest. And the Hulk comes in, tackles Thanos, they're doing blows, da-da-da. The two people from Black Order are there, Maw the Sorcerer and Midnight. And she's just like ready to jump in there, ready to get the Hulk off him. And Ma was like, let him have his fun. Thanos let Hulk get his few punches in, and then he just tosses Hulk like a rag doll, just started laying into him, just strategic punches. Not that he really needed to be strategic with it. I think he was just having fun with it. But he starts laying in Hulk, and then he slams the Hulk down like a rag doll. The Hulk dissipates. We see Bruce Banner in his shirtlessness, in pain, obviously, on the floor. And Thanos goes, has a little monologue with Loki, and I can't remember exactly all what was said. He picks up Loki by the throat, and Loki's like, you will never be a god. And then he thrushes Loki's throat. First death. Obviously, I'm devastated. If any of you have seen our earlier videos, have I even done Avengers videos on this channel a lot early? I don't even know. But if I have, Loki is my baby. Everybody would know that. And so I was kind of devastated that that was the first death. But hold up. Okay. So in the midst of all this, obviously Thor's like, you're gonna pay for this. And Thanos is like, yeah. Heimdall, Idris Elba's character, gathers up enough strength as gatekeeper to teleport Bruce using, I don't know if you'd call it the Rainbow Bridge. I don't know exactly what to call it. But using his teleportation deal to teleport Bruce out of there back to Earth so that he can warn the others. Thanos sees that. It's like, that's a mistake. Kills Heimdall. And obviously Thor's like, no, you're gonna pay for all this. And then Thanos I'm pretty sure he used the Power Stone after putting this big stone in to start the ship destroying, right? And he goes and he teleports out and the ship explodes. Now, I was like, Thor can't be dead. It's just the beginning of the movie. They aren't gonna kill him that fast if they are gonna kill him. So, after that, we go to Earth with Iron Man, and he's there with Pepper. They're having a good fun time talking about having kids, which got me really excited. And Doctor Strange shows up. They take him to the Sanctum. They talk about Thanos and all that and what that means and how he's felt a disturbance in the universe, you know. And as they're talking, you know, there are so many points in this movie where like Thanos' presence was felt. Like you seriously, you knew he was coming. Like there was just like complete silence, and the atmosphere, you could just tell, like the atmosphere in the theater and on the screen would just like shift before he entered a scene, or one of the Black Order minions would enter a scene. But Ma and Midnight showed up on Earth, and Tony had a couple of quips with them and was like, Earth isn't for sale, yada yada. And a fight ensues between Doctor Strange and Ma, Tony and Ma and everybody else. And we cut to that, and we cut from that, and we see a school bus with our baby Peter Parker on it, and he sees the big spaceship up in the sky. He leans over towards his friend, and it was real funny. He was like, dude, I need you to cause a distraction. And he looks out the window, and he's like, holy crap, we're all gonna die. And so he caused a distraction for his friend. Then we get the Stan Lee cameo, bless his heart, the OG. And Peter goes to help Iron Man and Doctor Strange handle this problem. They fight, they do all that. There's funny scenes where Spider-Man is just getting whacked by things no matter how hard he tries. And Ma actually ends up, because his mission was to go to Earth because Doctor Strange has the Soul Stone. Not the Soul Stone, but the Time Stone. And gets him, and he tried to get him during several times. He tried to get it during the fight several times, but Doctor Strange had put a spell on the necklace that he had it in, so he was not able to take it off. So he was just like, I'll do you one better, I'll knock you out and just take you up on the ship and we'll figure this out later. So Tony followed Ma and Midnight, followed their ship. Spider-Man attached himself to the ship, and he doesn't have the Iron Spider suit on at this point. And so of course Spider-Man is flying up there first, and of course Iron Man is concerned with Spider-Man's well-being, and he's like, well, the kid is out of the atmosphere now, and Peter is having trouble breathing. He tells Peter to let go. A suit on Tony's command comes flying out of the thing, and bam, we have the Iron Spider suit, which looked so totally awesome. The chrome on it, I remember seeing it in the trailers, and I was stoked about it in the trailers. But if we're honest, the suit in the trailers doesn't do justice to the suit on the screen. Like the metallic feel that it had on it with the little accents of gold around the suit, even right down to his spider legs that were in the suit. It all looked gorgeous, and they go into the spaceship and say, okay, we need to figure out a plan to save Doctor Strange. And I think, looking at the outline, I think that's where we cut to the Guardians. Yeah. Okay, so the Guardians, bless their souls, their entrance and everything. I loved how their entrance was done, because like you can tell if you've seen the movies or not. Like, say for instance you were going to see Infinity War and you hadn't seen any of the movies within the Marvel timeline, Iron Man 2008 included. You would know that you were entering a totally different vibe if you were sitting in Infinity War and transitioned to the Guardians, because they brought back the 80s music, the silliness. Star-Lord and Gamora and Drax and everybody were dancing to this one song. And they pick up a distress signal that came from Thor's ship. They get there, everything's devastated, and they're like, oh my god. Thor ends up smack on the windshield, and they end up picking him up. And they ask him what's up, and they talk about Thanos, and Thor tells them that he already has the Power Stone and the Space Stone, and Gamora sees this as a problem. She's like, well, we need to at least head to nowhere where the Reality Stone is. And Thor is like, well, I'm gonna need a weapon to knock Thanos out, because I plan to kill Thanos. And I need to go. I don't know how to pronounce this planet's name. Forgive me. To Nadavalir to get the dwarves, and these are the same people that made the hammer, to get the dwarves to make me a weapon that will defeat Thanos. And they were like, okay, so the Guardians had another ship, and Rocket and Groot decided to go with Thor, and Thor can speak Groot, which I thought was really cool. And they head off to this other planet to get the dwarves to make this weapon to defeat Thanos. And the rest of the Guardians, Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Groot, not Groot, but Mantis, they head to nowhere to at least try and stop Thanos from getting the Reality Stone. So then we head I don't know if Vision happened before all this, but I'm gonna talk about it anyway. Okay, so Bruce ended up, and I know this happened before Vision and them popped up, but Bruce ended up popping up in the Inner Sanctum. I think that was before they even went to go get Tony, but we can back up a little bit. Bruce ended up landing in Doctor Strange's Inner Sanctum, warning Doctor Strange about Thanos. So So that's how they went to go get Tony, and all this other stuff ensued and yada yada. The Hulk won't come out while Doctor Strange and Tony and Persons are fighting the Black Order, which I found to be incredibly funny. I know that some people are butthurt because the Hulk isn't supposed to be scared of anything, but I found it a good source of comic relief, and I found it entertaining how he just kept coming on me like, no! But, then after a little while, we see Vision and Scarlet Witch. They're in Scotland. They're in love. Vision is getting some weird vibes from the stone. This is after the fight with Tony and everybody, so he disappeared. I was on the right timeline. Okay, good. So they're in love. They're going out for a walk. They're talking, blah, blah, blah. They see on the news what happened in New York, and Vision is like, well, of course I have to go. And they're just talking, and then all of a sudden, midnight, I'm pretty sure it was midnight. Yeah, because she's the one with the tentacles. Midnight was just like, right through Vision's chest, and I jumped in my seat. I'm pretty sure Mom screamed. Everybody in the theater was jolted. We just didn't know what to do with that. But, Scarlet Witch is fighting Valkyrie and this other dude. I forget what he's called, and I should have written his name down, but I didn't. But if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But Vision is trying his best to fight them, and Scarlet, after Vision is down, is trying her best to protect Vision and drag him everywhere while fighting them off. And Steve Rogers, I've enjoyed his entrance scenes in so many of the Avengers movies, but his entrance scene in this movie is right in there with the first Avengers movie for me, as far as top entrances that I've loved, because I'm gonna try and paint this for you guys so that if somebody hasn't seen this and is watching it, y'all can visualize. But Scarlet Witch is on I would say, if you're facing this way, what's her name? Yep. Midnight is on my left. Scarlet Witch is on my right, and there's train tracks behind her. A train passes by, and as the train passes by, we see a silhouette. The music is creeping up, and we already know who it is. Cap steps out, and Falcon comes in, and Black Widow comes in, and they start going at it, and everybody is just kicking Black Order booty, and I loved it. Okay, so the one particular dude whose name I did not write down and I cannot remember, he got so injured that he actually ended up dying later. Midnight mentions that when they get to, I think it's Wakanda. And they kick their booties. They end up escaping, and they end up going back to New York to the second Avengers headquarters, and there, everybody gets reunited with like Bruce and everybody, and then we head back up to Tony and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange still up in the spaceship with Ma. The cloak that Doctor Strange has, we're just gonna call it the cloak. The cloak that he has that I love so much, that is a character all in itself, even though it's just a cloak, is with Tony and Spider-Man, and they had to come up with an idea. And of course, Spider-Man came through with the idea based off the movie's references, as many of us do. And they break in there and they fight him off. They end up doing such a great job that they actually end up sending Ma into the vacuum of space, and he freezes. He dies. So, Tony and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man decide that it would be best to take the fight to Thanos. So they were like, we're gonna go to his planet, we're gonna go to Titan, and we're gonna kick his booty, which is like, I didn't know how that was gonna work, and I was nervous about it, but they decided to go to Titan. The Guardians get to nowhere, and everything appears normal at first. And they end up creeping up on Star-Lord and the rest of the Guardians. They end up creeping up on what appears to be Thanos talking to the collector from nowhere, and he's like, well, where's the stone? And he's like, I don't know, I don't have it. And of course, they're creeping up ever so slowly. Drax, at the sight of Thanos, gets overcome with bloodthirsty revenge, and is like, today is the day that he dies for killing my wife and child. And obviously, he's like ready to go. He's about ready to run. Mantis touches him. He falls asleep. And of course, Drax is so big that his body makes this huge thud on the floor. Thanos hears it. They can't hide anymore. Gamora goes straight out and stabs Thanos. Now, for those of you who have seen Infinity War, but I don't know why you haven't watched the Guardians franchise, but if you haven't, you should. It's really good. Gamora is Thanos' adopted daughter, for lack of a better term. She wasn't really, adopted properly. He killed her family. You see that in a flashback that she has earlier in the movie while they're on the ship talking about Thanos. But she basically stabs Thanos, and Thanos is like bleeding purple for whatever reason. And obviously, right now, I think the whole theater's thinking that was too easy. We're only a few minutes in, but he reveals with the reality stone that he already has it. The veil is lifted, and we see that nowhere has just been destroyed. It's up in flames, and we're shook. And Thanos comes out and grabs Gamora. And Star-Lord and Gamora had an earlier discussion that she knew something that Thanos could not find out. So that in the event that Thanos got her, captured her, whatever, Star-Lord was to kill her. And she made him swear on his mother, which if you've seen the franchise, you know for Peter that's a serious thing to swear on. So, Thanos is being all daddy-like towards her even after he sees Star-Lord. He's like, oh, this is the boyfriend. See, it was conflicting because they made Thanos likable. They made him likable. Like, he was evil, he was a maniac, but at the same time, like, he was interested in knowing about Gamora's life, and even though he was a sick, crazy, homicidal maniac, he still had that fatherly thing about him where he was just like, oh, so this is the boyfriend. This is Peter. Okay. But, he was holding her there, and she told Peter to do it. And Thanos was like, you asked too much of him, daughter. And she was like, you promised. And Peter, obviously, you can see the conflict on his face. And he actually pulled the trigger to do it. But of course, with the reality stone, only bubbles came out, and Thanos was like, I like you, and Peter was like, no, and Thanos disappears with the space stone. So obviously Peter's in shambles, so he's like, we're gonna go to Titan, because he probably took her to Titan, and we're gonna go kill that man. And so they head off to Titan, which is obviously where Tony and Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange are. So those two are gonna collide. Their two storylines are gonna collide in a hot minute. But we shoot back over to Thor and Rocket, and he goes to the planet to get his axe done that is supposed to kill Thanos. He gets there, and you know what? I did not expect to see Peter Dinklage, but as a Game of Thrones fan, and I haven't heard anybody mention this yet in reviews. I don't know if all the people that I watch in reviews have just don't watch Game of Thrones or what, but it was real nice for me to see Peter Dinklage playing like a dwarf. It was a little treat for me. But he gets there. The planet is basically dark. Rocket gave him a new eye, which I can't wait to see how he puts that eye to use in the other movies. But they get to the dwarf planet, and the planet is out of commission. There's only one dwarf left. The dwarf is like, Thanos killed all the other ones. He made me make the gauntlet, and then he ruined my hands so that I couldn't make metal anymore. And Thor was like, well, you may not have your hands, but you still have your brain. He was like, so can you make me a weapon that'll kill Thanos? And he was like, yeah, but the star needs to be heated up, and the iris of the eye for the thing that we use to heat up the metal isn't open, and I can't open it, so I need someone to open it. So Thor goes over there with Rocket. They open it, it closes again, and Thor says, well, I'm gonna hold it open. And the dwarf is like, you're crazy, you're gonna die. And Thor's like, only if I die. And he was like, yes, that's what killing you means. But they go there, they do all that, the metal melts. Thor's been holding that thing so open for so long, he almost dies. But with a little help from Groot and a Groot handle on this new axe, Thor is brought back to life in full power, and he's like ready to go. But back to Titan we are. Tony and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange are already there, as I already stated. And they come across Drax and Star-Lord and Mantis, and of course they're all confused. And I think this is my favorite Drax joke of the whole series. They were like, "Who is Gamora? What is Gamora?" And he was like, "I'll do you much better. Why is Gamora?" And everybody just like busted out laughing. But they come up with a plan together to deal with Thanos and basically try and get the gauntlet off his hand so that they can handle this. And he ends up taking Gamora to, I don't know if this is after they met up or before, but he ends up taking Gamora. He has captured Nebula. And he ends up torturing Nebula until Gamora tells him where the Soul Stone is, which it's on Vormir. So he takes her to Vormir to get the Soul Stone. Red Skull is there. Now, I haven't seen the first Captain America movie in a long time, but I do know that Red Skull disappeared because of the Tesseract at the end, and nobody knew where he was. They said that he was dead, but no, he's actually been on Vormir this whole entire time, guarding the Soul Stone, if you will, being the guardian of the Soul Stone. And so once he gets there, once Thanos and Gamora get there, they meet up with him. He's like, "Well, in order to get the Soul Stone, my man, you have to sacrifice something that you love." And at this point, and I knew that it was gonna be Gamora, because obviously throughout this movie and throughout the Guardians movies, like, it may not feel like it sometimes, but you can obviously tell that Thanos loves Gamora in his own sick way. And she is laughing at this point because she's like, "Well, this is finally the end of your conquest because you don't love anything." And he's crying, and he says, "I'm sorry, little one." And he throws Gamora over the thing, kills her, and gets the Soul Stone. So that is our fourth? No. So we had Loki, Heimdall, Gamora. That's our third death so far. That's our third one. And after all this, Thanos goes back to Titan after getting Nebula down for whatever reason. Nebula tried to kill him, so he ended up chaining her up, but she ended up breaking out anyway. He went back to Titan. Doctor Strange and Thanos have this little monologue, and the plan ensues, where they are putting in work, and I mean serious work, fam, trying to get this glove off Thanos' hand. It was one of the best choreographed scenes I think I've seen. I mean, they were throwing absolutely everything they had at this man, and they actually ended up holding him down long enough to get the gauntlet somewhat off. It was getting loose. It was almost off. Like, Mantis was on his head, freaking making him go down so that he could sleep somewhat. And Mantis yelled out at this point, "He's grieving." And Star-Lord is like, what do you mean? And then Nebula, I wish Nebula hadn't said anything because she said something. But, it was like, he was like, she's dead. And Star-Lord was just like, what? And he ended up hitting him multiple times and waking him up out of his sleep, which ruined the whole dang plan. And everything starts going to crap. And there was a moon or something tossed at Iron Man from Thanos. And long fight short, Tony ends up getting stabbed, at which point we were all gasping and clutching our chest because we don't know what was gonna happen. I think we all went into this movie prepared for Captain America to die. We were all just like, well, this is it. If one person dies, it's gonna be Captain America. And as many of you know, that didn't pan out. But Tony ends up getting stabbed, to which is something that Doctor Strange backed out of, because on the spaceship, on their way back to Titan, he told Tony, he was like, if it comes down to saving your life, saving the kid's life, or saving the stone, I will not hesitate to save the stone. And he said to Thanos, spare his life and I'll give you the stone. And so Thanos was like, okay, fine, I'll spare his life and give me the stone. So Thanos got the stone. And with that, he heads down to Earth, down to Wakanda, to get the final remaining stone, the Mind Stone. And let me think. So Cap and them are already there. They meet Black Panther. Some real funny exchanges happen. They meet Shuri, and they tell Shuri, we need to figure out a way to get this stone out of him so that Scarlet Witch can destroy it, but we need to do it in a way that won't kill Vision. And Shuri was just like, well, why didn't you just rewire his synapses to the thing in the first place? That way y'all wouldn't have to do this. And Bruce was like, because we didn't think of that. But so they sent Shuri off to work on that with guards at her door and stuff. And Black Panther was all like, engage all defenses, get this man a shield, and things were happening. Bucky got his brand new spanking arm. He was ready to go, and they're ready to fight. Now we get there, and Midnight and like two other people from the Black Order are there. Those two other people that I didn't write their names down, and I should have. But they're there, and they're at the barrier, and they have these. They reminded me of the Demon Dogs from Stranger Things, and not because they looked like them, but because they acted like them really to an extent. And those things were killing themselves trying to get into the barrier, y'all, trying to break the barrier. But Black Panther told them to open the barrier. Fighting ensues. And I was stressed when all those things started jumping on Cap, and all those things started jumping on Bruce, and all those things started just jumping on people everywhere. It was a very stressful time. And to keep a long fight short, there were so many great moments. Black Widow helping Okoye and Scarlet Witch out, and in turn Scarlet Witch coming down, beating them up, and Okoye was like, what was she doing up there this whole entire time? But things started going to crap just gradually. Thor comes down from Thor, Rocket, and Groot. They come down using this teleportation thing that they do. I don't know what you call it, but Thor, Groot, and Rocket come down, and they just unleash crap on everybody. Thor comes in, and the tide just starts turning. He just starts wrecking people up. Thor's all like, bring me Thanos, and boom, boom, boom. And Rocket and Bucky have their little cute thing that they go around, like Bucky picks him up, and Rocket has a gun, and Bucky has a gun. They're kind of doing this circular shooting thing. Rocket's like, you're all screwed now, blah, 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 blah. And then Groot meets Steve Rogers, and Thor and Steve are like having this little cute inter-exchange. And Thor's like, this is my cute wooden friend. And Groot's like, I am Groot. And he's like, I am Steve Rogers. It was just a really cute moment. But fast forward, we get to Scarlet Witch is in the woods with Vision. And at this point, she has to destroy his stone. Shuri has not completed the process to make sure that he makes it out alive without the Mind Stone. And they have this really sweet goodbye moment. In front of Thanos, Thanos is like coming to retrieve the stone. And Scarlet Witch at the same time is holding Thanos back with this hand and destroying the Mind Stone with this hand. And I just have to say, you have to be incredibly strong to do it. But Vision gets his Mind Stone gets destroyed, and we all breathe for a second. If you were me, you breathed for like 3 seconds because you forgot that Thanos had the freaking Time Stone. So Thanos comes up to Scarlet Witch. Of course, she's crying, she's mourning the body, and Thanos is all like, I understand your pain, child. And he rewinds time. And Vision comes back alive. And Thanos grabs the stone and plucks it out of Vision's head. So basically, Vision died twice. So Vision is officially dead now from what we know. And he ends up putting in the Mind Stone, and that completes the gauntlet. He's at full power now. And basically, once we get to like towards the end part of the movie, I'm just gonna skip to this part. Keep in mind that we still have some Avengers that are up in space now. Some of the Guardians are up in space, and some of the Avengers are still up in space. Just keep that in mind, fam. So Thor takes the axe, rams it through Thanos' chest, and Thor says, I told you you would die for that. And he digs it in deeper. And Thanos, with bated breath, now he's injured, and he's injured badly. He goes, "You should have went for the head." And the screen went black. Thor was like, "What did you do? What did you do?" And Thanos teleports out of there using the Space Stone. Now, we all know what happens. I've been snapping my fingers this whole entire video. We all know what happens when Thanos snaps his fingers. You snap your fingers with the Infinity Gauntlet on, half the universe is gone, fam. That's it. And so we're all worried at this point. And we're taking like to another spot in the woods where they were fighting in Wakanda. And the first person to turn to dust, we see him coming to the frame, is Bucky. He's like, "Hey, Steve," and all of a sudden, like, his leg and his right arm, just his whole, like, he just starts to dust. Then Falcon, then Scarlet Witch as she's mourning Vision's body, then Black Panther, and of course Okoye is freaking out because Black Panther just got freaking dusted in front of her. Then some of the rest of the soldiers in the army that they were fighting with. Then we go back up towards these planets where, well, not a planet, but Titan, where Star-Lord, Doctor Strange, and everybody else is. Oh yes, and Groot gets dusted too. Then we go back up to Titan, and Star-Lord gets dusted, Drax gets dusted, Mantis gets dusted, and Doctor Strange gets dusted. And then, y'all, Peter comes out from the shadows, looks at Tony, and is like, "Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good." And he falls to the ground. And Tony is clutching him, and he's just like a scared little baby. Listen, I was torn up from Black Panther disappearing, okay? I was torn up, fam. And Peter is the baby. So he has my heart. And first of all, hats off to Tom Holland. That was spectacular acting. But to see, and they did it on purpose, his dusting, I'm just calling it dusting because that's what it was. His dusting, his disappearing, his disintegration was slower on purpose. They wanted you to feel that one. And boy, did you. Tony was trying to hold him there, trying to tell him that everything was okay. He's a baby. He just came from a field trip. He's like a Mr. Stark. I don't want to go. Plus, if you're a Doctor Who fan, like me, I'm a Doctor Who fan, you were triggered by that phrase all by itself. And I was okay, like physically, emotion-wise, when Black Panther and all of them started getting dusted. I was in shock. But then when Peter started getting dusted, I lost it. I sobbed. And the ones we have remaining after this large dusting are Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Black Widow, War Machine, Rocket, Nebula, Okoye, and M'Baku. So, Nebula is still on Titan. You know, it could be very well assumed that Thanos didn't go back to Titan. I think, honestly, well, no, them being there wouldn't have an effect on him at all. So I'm not even gonna say that he wouldn't go back to Titan. But we know that Iron Man and Nebula are still on Titan as far as we know. We don't know what happened to Shuri. And as far as Valkyrie from Thor Ragnarok goes, I don't know where she went, but we know that Ant-Man and Hawkeye are on house arrest, and I'm sure they're gonna address all that other stuff, bring them back in Ant-Man and the Wasp, if not directly in the movie, then in the after credits scenes. But yeah, so those people that we have remaining in the movie so far are, I noticed the OG Avengers that we had from the very beginning, but I'm just wondering how they're gonna do things. Fast forward to the credits. I expected, because I think everyone in the theater and everyone who's seen this was looking for some type of solace to know that everybody was alright. We know that there's gonna be a part 2, but it doesn't make it any less hurtful. And we didn't get a mid-credit scene. I personally was shocked by that. But we fast forward through the actual credits, the end credits, and we see in that scene Nick Fury and Hillary Hill, and they're in New York. A car crashes into their car. They get out to investigate. Nobody's there. So this whole dusting thing is affecting normal people as well. A helicopter also crashes into the side of a store. And so, you know, that person probably disappeared, got dusted too. People are getting dusted. Samuel L. turns around. Hill is getting dusted. Excuse me. And he's like, what the heck? And so he goes, he grabs a pager out of the car, presses it. He's like, sending. He starts getting dusted. And he's like, the curse word that Samuel L. Jackson uses. I'm not even gonna say it. I don't curse. But that was a funny bit. But the pager is still sending. Obviously, we're hoping whoever gets it, you know. And we see Captain Marvel's symbol. Now, as far as my theory for the part 2, I really, really do think that they're going to give us a hint as to Avengers Part 2 at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp. I really do think that. I think that the plot for Avengers Part 2 will be, because the people who got dusted, disintegrated, whatever you want to call it, they aren't dead. I don't know about Gamora, because she was used to sacrifice for the Soul Stone. But the people who got dusted are not dead. I think that they're inside a soul stone. So if Captain Marvel were able to go back in time and reverse all this or deal with Thanos and set things right, I'm like 90% sure that that's what part 2 is going to be, is getting them back out of the soul stone into actual existence. I know that Trey from Married to the Real said that it will be a prequel, and I love them, but I hope they're wrong. I don't want that. But yeah, overall, my thoughts, I think Infinity War, while it was a devastating movie, I'm proud of Marvel for taking the steps that they needed to take. The Russo brothers, just hand claps off to them. They have worked so hard throughout the making of the Marvel Universe to make this moment happen, and it came together so beautifully and so great. Hats off to just the whole entire team. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't know why you're watching this and you haven't seen it yet. Go see it. If you have seen it, go see it again. Maybe I don't know. Go see it again. Tell me what you guys thought about the movie in the comments. Tell me what your theories are for part 2 for Miss Marvel in her origin movie. Will we get to see how she met Nick Fury? Because that, for one, is a question I have. How do they know each other? They aren't supposed to know each other. She's from another planet. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I have no idea how long this video is gonna be after I finish editing it. If we're being honest, if you want my in-depth thoughts about everything that went down, I might just keep this the whole hour, but we'll just see. But yeah, thanks for watching. Go support this movie. Go support great art. When Black Panther 2 comes out and all the stuff that is happening after this event, I still need y'all to go support this, because y'all, nobody's dead. We don't know that for sure. And we cannot miss a single Marvel movie after this, because they all fall in succession with each other. I can't wait to see where the universe goes with this, and yeah, so let me know what you guys thought, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace out.